Juan had started taking these daily sessions where he had to go to his doctor's office to get IV-administered therapy to help him fight the various AIDS infections that he was plagued with.
Good morning.
They called this place where they got the therapy the Dolly Madison room. The more Juan went, the more he started coming back and telling his friends, us included, about the important kinds of dialogues that were happening in that room. He had a feeling that continued to grow in him, that these exchanges that occurred amongst the patients there should really be documented. He felt that there was a lot going down in the room that was characterized by humor, heroism, insight, soap opera, a lot of different things. He expressed that he wished he could film some of it, and a couple of us thought that it sounded like a good idea and shared the thought that this could be a very important kind of document. So we contrived to get Juan a camera, and Juan, who had always been an artist and a painter and a graphic designer, wonderful one to this point, became kind of an instant filmmaker.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
I'm just coming to get a shot.
Oh.
So, I guess my blood water didn't come out as flawless as I would like to.
My name is Bernard Morissette. I'm 23 years old. I've been working here for a year and a month now. And I'm a medical technician here and give the patients their treatments and whatever they need. And I guess that's what I do.
And how did you hook up with Dr. Bellman's office?
I answered the ad in the New York Times. Yeah, I just answered the ad in the Times. I came in for the interview one Saturday, and I started working that Saturday. So, and here I am in Dolly Madison.
Well, I have the candy in my mouth and water in my hand, so I hope that doesn't cause any strange speech patterns. Anyway, my name is Daniel Chapman, and I'm going to be 40, I hope, in August of this year. And I have 2 kids. My oldest boy is 15, my youngest boy is 12. And they are two very strong reasons why I want to live. Also, I am a homosexual. I tried to to be heterosexual for many years, unsuccessfully. I finally decided that I was not meant to be that way, and perhaps God had other plans for me. I have to furnish my ex-wife with a letter that I don't have AIDS in October. Each October I have to give her this letter. It's a stupid homophobic, AIDS-phobic law thing that they did in Canada.
So after October, you think you're going to tell them?
No, I'm telling them before.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm telling them next month. No, in August, because I have them for 10 days in Florida, and I figure if they need to yell at me, if they need to cry, if they need to do whatever they do, it'll give them a chance to do it. It is possible. It is possible that my sons wouldn't want to see me anymore.
I don't think so.
I mean, I have to be open to that idea because, you know, they're from this religious fanatic background, and, you know, it might be too much for them. They might get mad. They might get angry that I let myself be a homosexual and let myself get sick. You know, they might blame it on me.
Well, they don't necessarily have to know that you're a homosexual.
Well,
They already know that.
Oh, well then.
I mean, my ex-wife and all her friends have paraded that all
What's the
around.
problem? Behind. I mean, don't you think
The
they
problem is
suspect?
dying on him. You also missed Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's a very good one.
As
Did you do Arnold?
As an AIDS patient.
Do it.
Don't tell me you're going to stick me again. I'm tired of this. If you do this again, I'm going to say something to you. Hasta la vista, baby.
Very good.
That's pretty cute.
Arnold Schwarzenegger as an AIDS patient.
The first night I was ever at the hospital, they give me it was like this night where I was like all night at the emergency room. By the time they put me in the room, they couldn't serve me any food. I had been like without eating for hours. And they kept telling me that once I was in the room, they would be able to give me food. Of course, I rushed to the room, they're not giving me any food, and I'm like about to faint. So I wait until 8 in the morning and they bring me breakfast. They make a mistake and they bring me, well, there's this thing, this paste, you know, and I thought it was like, not oatmeal, but what is that, like oats, you know, like the stuff that you go eat? Yeah, it's like cream of wheat or something like that, you know. So I put sugar and I put milk and stuff, and all of a sudden I can dip my spoon in it, and here comes out a chicken neck.
Oh,
And it's like, it was one of these Chinese things. The Chinese like eat this like gooey thing with like, it's like rice paste, and they have like kidney, you know, like all these, you know, like chicken parts. And I ate it. I was so hungry. I ate it with sugar and milk.
Okay, do you want me to look into the camera?
Yes,
when I do
please.
this stuff? My name is Gene Fedorko, and I'm Dr. Bellman's administrator. Paul and I were friends before I took a job here, but he did hire me 2 years ago to administer a lot of the procedures that have to be done here. And it's very hectic, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of stress. There's also a lot of laughter, there's also a lot of love, there's a lot of tragedy, there's a lot of tears, and it's the most dramatic place I've ever worked in my entire life. There's not a day goes by that I don't go through the whole gamut of emotions. This doctor just called from the hospital, right, to talk to Paul.
Right.
And she had this really thick Indian accent. And I couldn't understand her name. And I said, "You're a witch doctor?" And she said, "Witch doctor?"
I'm not a witch doctor.
I said, "No, what is your name?" She said, "Witch doctor." She said, I'm an intern."
when you get sick, when you're up against the wall, some friend or friends will be very close to you, and others won't. Okay. This ring, I'm going to give to the person who is there, for me. Whoever it is, I don't know who it'll be, And I'm not like advertising. The way to get a good ring is to stick around 10 when he's down and out. But like when my boyfriend was sick, there were certain people that we knew that just like walked the other mile all the time to be close and helpful. And when my time should come, that's what I want to be able to take it off and just say, this is yours because you've been so good to me. Yeah, we began to hear about this terrible plague, and I thought it's only the really dirty homosexuals, the ones that hang out in bathrooms, the ones that frequent the baths all the time and go to the mine shaft and all these backroom creatures, they're the only ones that'll get it. And I kind of felt like not really threatened by it because I thought, well, I'm with my lover and I'm not an angel, he's not an angel, and I'm sure that he's had a few extra experiences sexually, but I wasn't worried about it. I didn't think it would get me, And then I began to hear about other people getting it, and then people that weren't what I considered trashy homos, Some people that I knew, some people that I respected. And then after a while, my best friend was diagnosed with KS. And that really rattled the tree, I remember the phone call when he was talking to the doctor, and he kept saying, "Oh, there's got to be some mistake. There's got to be a mix-up, And he was horrified, and he was very, very frightened. And
okay? Yeah.
I was horrified, and I was frightened. Not only because I loved my best friend as a wonderful pal, but also because I felt this hound of death was now nipping at my ankles. I could feel its breath on the back of my neck. I was really frightened. And I began to do the denial trick,
Okay, cool.
I began to think, well, I'm going to be really careful. And so we didn't know how to be careful then. Nobody knew how you got it. There was ideas that it was from poppers or it was from this or from that, but no one really knew. And so at that point, by being careful was really looking carefully at the person you're going to have sex with and seeing if they look really healthy. And if they looked really healthy, then you thought you were being careful, But that just wasn't good enough. That certainly wasn't scientific.
I put all my national health laboratories built together. It's like this tall between collection agencies and it's like this much. I put them all together. And I wrote this note saying, I don't have the health, the time, or the resources to pay for these bills. Please stop the onslaught of mail. And then I said, I don't want to feel responsible for any further damage to the nation's forests.
Good for you.
What was that advisor?
But you gave them your insurance company.
I'm just sending them like a ton of insurance forms and let them deal with it.
Have you signed one of those living will things that in case you lose your mind, who's responsible for making decisions?
No.
Oh, well, good. Because if you put your mother in it, then that's probably a legal document that says
Right, there's
she becomes responsible.
Oh, I should probably, because I was going to put Billy in my living will.
Put somebody that you hate.
For someone that doesn't have anything to take.
Right.
Yeah, we can put each other.
Go get him.
Take him for everything he's got.
Rip out his IDs. the best thing. or you could just put like deceased. Period. Right, deceased on everything.
Oh, I did that already. Oh no, they called me and I said, oh, he died. It didn't work. I think I had to call him back and say like it was alive still. Then we speak to Joseph Pisati, I'm like, oh, he died last time. This is his brother. This is his brother. The brother I never had, you know. And then it got like complicated. I was sort of like, well, I was kidding. You know?
His twin brother.
No, but it got like involved, and then I had to like really feel like an idiot. Talk about feeling like a real jerk. Oh yeah, well.
You don't speak English.
He was kidding. So don't do that. It ends up becoming more like complicated. I thought, oh good, let's say I died, what are they gonna do? You know?
I have thought of doing that, but I remember.
No, don't. It gets like about, then you really look like an idiot on top of everything else. Like feel like an ass plus like have the problems anyway.
I remember.
Oh, excuse me, remember the other day you called, well, that person was like misinformed. I'm alive, you know.
And they said, well, you
What's
sound
that?
so much like the person we spoke to.
I'm Dr. Paul Curtis Bellman, and I'm an internist in private practice of internal medicine in Greenwich Village in New York, and my practice is pretty much solely devoted to the care of people living with HIV and living with AIDS, and the whole office has sort of grown around those needs that are generated by this problem, and it's truly remarkable place to work in the sense of all of the special people that I work with and the remarkable people who are my patients. And my whole focus, is to try at every level that I'm capable of to help my patients to live longer, live better, and also to come to terms with the reality of their situation and the uncertainties of their situations. And my job is a very complicated one and a very arduous one at times, but I always find myself renewed and energized by the spirit and the life of my patients, even when they're in difficult situations. So I feel that essentially what we're embarking upon is really it's a collective process of trying to heal this disease, and I'm assisting, given the skills and the background and the abilities that I have. Someone came to pick up some medicine for Wilfredo, a neighbor that has been offering to do things for him, etc. He came into the office and he got very agitated, and he said, I have a cab waiting downstairs. I said, well, we'll try to get it as soon as possible, but the person who's doing it is busy. And I came back into the waiting room. He was looking very agitated, and I said, is that a problem? And he said, well, I think I should leave now. And I said, well, why? And he said, well, I just can't stand it when people call each other honey. Dallas had come in, said, hi honey, or whatever. and it was really unbelievable.
Dallas, I hear you're scaring away the
Oh, please, you didn't trade. It wasn't any trade. Please, forget it. I mean, if you saw this piece.
Well, we were going to invite him to stay.
Actually, I'm glad I scared the fruit fly away. I don't like it swarming all over me.
Well, we were going to invite him to stay for the fashion show.
Yeah, I mean, it looks so comfortable in here. It looks like everybody's sitting around in chairs gossiping, you know. It looks so homey.
You hit another nail on the head.
Believe me, I went through the self-hate and the self-pity, and I'm ugly, and I'm contaminated, and I'm poisoned, and nobody wants me, and on and on and on. But I have a partner who loves me unconditionally. I mean, and that helps a lot. But even before I met Phil, I worked through that self-hate thing, because my whole life, you know, Larry's one of my best friends, and he knows everything that I've gone through with this, and my whole life, I feel, has been about trying to prove to either myself or somebody else that I'm worthy. It's all I feel like in my entire life I've been on trial. And I feel, sometimes it's like you're still on trial, but you have to get through that. It's not you. It's nothing personal. It's AIDS. No doubt about it. You just can't go by stereotypes. I mean, you really, really can't. Gay people are everywhere. They are baseball umpires. They are football players. They are doctors. They are they are medical doctors, they are surgeons, they are engineers, they are mathematicians, they are biochemists, they are biophysicists, on and on, on and on. You just can't. I mean, the people who are very, flamboyant, I think a lot of them do it because they haven't grown up, when they do it in public. It's a way of seeking attention, I truly believe. But, frankly, I'm the kind of person who's very private, person about my sexuality. People knowing anything is not their business. And you got it all on camera. Love the camera.
I'm kidding. Well, the other day, you know Simon, right? French Canadian Simon, and he showed up with this boy who, so this is so and so, and he's a friend of mine. He's just visiting from Holland and stuff. Really cute, really like very Dutch boy, like curly, really like golden locks and stuff. And I assumed he was gay, he looked very gay. And sexy, he's really kind of cute. And then, it was like right before Gay Pride, so I just started crying on. It's like, oh, you came for Gay Pride, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, no, like I'm just visiting. And so it's like, oh, what are you guys doing this weekend? And that was like Gay Pride. And it's like, oh, we're going out to the country. And so it's like, oh, you should come to the parade, blah, blah. And he's like, I just kept going on and on and on. And finally, Simon just turned to me and said, he's not gay. And I got out of it really well. I just said, well, I mean, that's okay. It's really fun anyway for anyone and stuff. And of course, he said, oh yeah, I'm sure. I would love to go see it and stuff. But I really put I really put my foot in my mouth.
At least he didn't say he's not gay and he thinks I'm straight. Army or
Air Force.
Yeah, Air Force is concerned.
What made me join the reserves?
No, but what made you decide that that's what you wanted to do, medical stuff rather?
Because that's all I wanted to do. I figured, see, I was going to school. I was still in college. I was a freshman in college at the time. And I said, well, let me get some hands-on experience to see if that's what I really want to do later on in life.
And you were studying medicine at school?
Yeah.
Oh.
I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, so I said, let me take a semester off. It ended up being a year. I took a year off, and I joined the reserves to see what it was like. And I like it. I really do like it. And I don't look down on the reserves. I look down on the military because of my experience over in Saudi Arabia. Because I think I learned a lot about life and just everything.
Right.
And who can say that they were 20 at the time and been in the war? You know, not many people can say that. I think I've gained valuable experience.
Sure.
We're probably going to see more people dying here than in that war.
Yeah, it's true. Well, already I think with AIDS, more people have died of AIDS than all of Vietnam and the Korean War put together.
Really?
Yeah, so you're in another war.
A war against AIDS, huh?
Yeah, you got out of the Desert Storm and into the real war.
Yeah.
The big one. My friend began to get sicker and sicker. He tried different things. He tried, suddenly became like really into all kinds of, well, I don't mean to make fun, but like really spiritual things and crystals and hocus pocus, and he changed his diet radically, became macrobiotic and all kinds of things, and I couldn't relate to him very much anymore, and I began to think, well, is he believing that all the medical profession is completely out to lunch because he wasn't doing what the medical people were saying to do? And he was just so frightened and trying, actually as he began to get sicker, I think he was just like grabbing for straws, anything he could catch hold of. Eventually, he died, either because of the harsh medicines or because of the diseases that were attacking him. He had TB when he died, and he had something else, and KS, and he died in like 1985. And I took care of him for quite a while towards the end, and it was very, very difficult. It was running back and forth through bathrooms with bedpans. It was, you couldn't wash up and sterilize yourself before there was another accident. It was really difficult. And when he died, of course, like other people with AIDS, he had suffered a lot. And he was losing his mind. There were so many horrors, and you couldn't help but think, well, thank God he's free from that ravaged body. When he died, I was with him, and there was a breath, and his spirit left his body, and it was a great sense of relief because he was no longer chained to it.
Have you talked with your parents about the prospect of dying soon?
Sure.
Okay. Because I've tried to talk to my mother, and she doesn't want it.
She doesn't want to hear it, right? Yeah.
She doesn't want to hear it. And today I told her, I mean, it's not that I'm planning to die tomorrow, but I think it would be very good if we clear a few things up so we don't mess if I get sicker.
Oh, I'm actually staying at my mother's house. And she can't even look at me like doing the medicine. I think it freaks her out. Like, she stays out of my room, you know? I don't think she can stand the tubes and the bottles, and like, it's too much, you know? They're very good to me. My family's really good to me. They take care of everything. But they don't want to get involved. Like, she can't, like, it'll freak her out, you know?
Well, I spoke to my mother this morning, and I told her that I want her to be aware of a few things, that I have an insurance policy on her name,
Oh, I told her that.
my bank account and all that stuff, and that I wanted to write my will.
Right.
because it would be better if I did it right now. And I thought I needed the support. You know, I even need the support of my family to do this, not to pretend that it's not there, and not to pretend that God is gonna save me at the last minute.
Right.
She's telling me today that I should get involved with religion, and I said, very politely that I am a very spiritual person.
And you know what, right?
I hate the Catholic Church. I don't want to be close to it, and I don't want to be like giving the last sacrament at the end because I hate them. Mm-hmm. I mean, they haven't done anything good for me. Well, maybe I go to the YMCA. Which is Catholic.
Not really.
That is not Catholic.
Oh, I thought it was
It's
Catholic.
just Christian.
It's a good Protestant organization.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
No, it's not Catholic.
Okay, so they haven't done much for me.
So I've got nothing with it.
I went to Catholic school all my life.
My whole life.
All my
I
life.
went to grammar school, high school, and then college. So
And why do you think I'm so fucked up?
I know.
Because everybody had this self-hate because since you're a kid, people just
You're taught to hate yourself.
yeah. I remember when I said to the first in my confession to my confessor, and what I was getting was a lot of penitence, you know, a lot of Hail Mary, and that I won't do it again.
And then you came back to see the confessor again the next week.
I confessed a few times till the point that I couldn't do it anymore because it was the same thing. He said, God loves you, but He doesn't love what you do. I was just thinking when we were sitting the four of us here, laughing and joking. I said, God, it's like the spirit. You know, we were like all going through this, and everybody's like joking and laughing. I guess, yeah, and I do laugh a lot. And a lot of my friends that are not positive, they think that I'm so strong. And it's just that you have to laugh, because what are you going to do, cry all the time?
You develop a sense of humor that's kind of strange. But it helps to get you through.
I mean, like in my case, you know, like with Billy, I mean, we met when Billy had just moved to New York, and that wasn't a problem for a while, but like, in a way, it kind of is now.
Now?
No, I mean, it is, I mean, it's like a lot of times it is hard because, you know, he does, you know, I think he still feels that, you know, all he's done in New York is like have a relationship, and there's like that there's all these things that he wants to do and stuff. And I think a lot of like his kind of like, you know, just, you know, like it still has this like little worm in him that makes him want to go out and do crazy things and stuff. And I think, I mean, we always went out a lot, you know, I still,
exactly wrong.
no. It's just more problem now, I guess, since like, but I mean, I guess we were kind of at different points when we met. I don't know why he knew so well that he wanted a relationship. It's just kind of surprising, because he really pursued it. And he had just moved here. That was kind of unusual. I mean, I was really ready, you know, I was kind of ready. I mean, I wasn't really looking for one, but I think I was really ready when I met him.
How long have you guys been together?
8 years.
This is from Rula Lenska, from My Choice. She's now sponsoring Sustica, nutritionally complete liquid food. She highly recommends it. You want this?
From Rula? It's for you anyway.
Is it for me?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Rula Lenska. Perfect. You would enjoy some of that. Especially for
Can you
you.
hit the on-off button, please?
We don't know who to hit.
You, right? This is probably so disgusting.
Yeah, but you said you wanted to try some.
Who brought this?
I think Ernesto brought it for you because he called me and he asked me if I wanted it. And I said, I take Ensure. And I said, Juan was talking about trying something like that, so maybe you should bring it and let him see if he likes it.
I'll try. I should open my mouth.
Dan, you don't want something? You need some.
Oh, you mean I need some?
I'll have a
It's
little.
just got all the calories and stuff in it. I don't mean it that way.
It wouldn't go well with what I'm drinking, you see.
It wouldn't go well with
Kernel.
this stop today.
It would curdle with this. So.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna sit here, Juan.
I'd have a little cup.
You want some? I'm gonna make it to a cup. Drink it.
Juan's making such a nice face.
Oh, he looks like that all the time.
Delicious.
Yeah.
He's gonna do
I'll get you a
commercials.
cup here.
Yeah.
He's gonna do commercials for them.
Thanks for that.
Okay, so.
Try something else.
Great.
Horrendous face.
What is it called? Susticol?
Yeah.
Yeah. I put it in a pitcher in the refrigerator, and I went away for the weekend, and Pepe and Billy were like, they were hanging out in the house, and they saw this in the picture, and Pepe was convinced, Pepe is the kind of person that really is big on self-delusion, and it's like, he was convinced it was horchata, which is this summer drink that is also Italian. Have you ever heard of that? Horchata?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's like a milk made out of these little nuts, and it's very refreshing, and people drink it with crushed ice. So he was all excited.
Oh, yeah, I heard about
this is horchata, let's have some and stuff. So they drank it all, and they couldn't believe how delicious it was.
Oh,
It's on the
Pepper, did you tell
They
him
loved it.
Did you tell how many calories he had?
Yes, and they were both like trying to lose weight.
Oh my god.
That is funny. Well,
See, it's all like if you're not making.
But what's really sad is that how you can make yourself believe anything.
Right, it's like if you don't know
If someone had told me that was horchata, I probably would have liked it.
Mary lost his hair, right? Ron.
Procedure silence.
Pardon?
Mary lost
Yeah.
his body hair pretty much.
Yeah, he lost all his chest hair, his legs. He lost all the hair on top of his head. And he had an engagement to sing at the White House. And
Which
so,
is that was your boyfriend?
yeah, and he was going to come out at the White House and say that he was a man living with AIDS. He had a toupee made, and somebody caught wind of it and they canceled it. He died the week after Memorial Weekend, and we had the toupee. We always had picnics in Central Park Memorial Day, so we had everybody come to the house, and he was very alert though,
Right.
and so every time somebody go in the house, we put the toupee on when they were Polaroid. We had like 20 Polaroids and everybody with a toupee.
That toupee.
And some people got very creative. Like some people turned it upside down, like a monk.
Yeah. There's a lot of foreign stylists.
Off to the side.
Yeah.
Some people actually look better.
That's scary.
Okay, my name is Tyrone. I am, how old am I? Very young. I'm 30. I've been working here, in 3 weeks will be 2 years for me. I'm one of the older staff members here. I am supervisor of the laboratory, and, well, not really supervisor because the guys I work with don't need supervision. But it's been a very difficult 2 years. Sometimes when you feel that this field is very rewarding, and a lot of times it strips you of so many things, so many unique things. It makes you think, it makes you wonder, it makes you cry, but it makes you humble, and it makes you love in a lot of ways that I guess necessarily that you never knew that you could love.
Really?
It's just that.
How long do you take them?
3 days.
No, about 2.5 years.
Oh, okay. Really?
It's just, it's too emotional. I can't, like Gay Pride Day, he came up and spoke to me, and he hugged me, I couldn't hug him back.
One thing, I think the worst thing a man can do is to date a bisexual man.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would never recommend a man date a bisexual man. Number one, they want the best of both worlds. You know, sometimes I have to leave because his girlfriend was coming over. You know, all that kind of crap. It's not good.
If it's just that the short staircase, I can still do like once or twice a day. The outside stairs are very much narrower and there's 16 steps. That I cannot do at all. And there's a lot of joggers and stuff, so I just ask them to carry me literally off. You know.
That's what you've been doing? Really?
As of yesterday. But he did a lot of tests and made me push and stuff on my legs, and they just wore out. You know. The other thing is I stumble. I have this, habit of, I have to look at my feet and say lift, the front part, because otherwise I'll trip myself.
Well, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden it didn't work. And I think the problem was on the extension part, that little extra tube. And I think what I did was that when I put the flush in or some needle, that I must have punctured the tube of the extension so that nothing was happening. So that's when I decided what I would do is take off the extension and take the cap part that's on the extension and put it on the actual thing that's in my arm. So I needed 2 hands to do that. So I had to get my mother involved, and she did not like it. I mean, it was not the rubber, the blood. It was like I made a mess, but I ended up making it work. So, but it was like to get there, it was like a lot of blood, a lot of flush, and a lot of needles, and a lot of my mother getting hysterical and
cap here
and then I dropped the cap on the floor. So I pick it up, of course. cat hair and like fuzz balls and roll under my bed. Underneath beds are always where like things like collect. My house is clean, but
yeah,
under the bed, everything ends up.
That perfectly clear.
I mean, it's not like a felt, but there was some hair on the floor, fuzz balls. And there's like the hemlock laying in the middle of like the fuzz balls. So I took it up and I just like put alcohol on it and I said, oh well.
I can't believe you made it work.
But I made it work. The other alternative was just like, oh well, I'll skip a day, what's gonna happen? Although that's not supposed to happen. They don't like that, but I figured I'd live.
Finally, I met somebody who was very, very special to me, and we had, I think, the perfect relationship, and we were so much in love. And then, after about a year of being together, he told me he was sick. And I was mad at first. I thought, well, why didn't you tell me at the beginning, you know? But for whatever reason, we only did safe sex, so I guess he thought that it didn't matter that much. But for me, it sort of mattered because I was afraid to become involved with somebody that was ill. Because I'd seen so much death already, and I've been through so much of it already. But actually now I'm glad he didn't tell me, because it was wonderful to be so in love with someone and to know that this life was successful. Successful in finding love, really great love.
Yeah, my challenges are more emotional, I think. Well, getting, looking like
I
this.
think chaos is particularly hard to deal with. Has to be. I don't have it, but it's like just recently in the last 2 weeks I had these spots in my penis, and I thought maybe it was, and I was surprised like what a baby I was about it, because I've dealt with other things much better. Like when I lost my eye, I don't think I was so depressed. I mean, I think it's all vanity.
Not the penis.
I know, not a spot on my perfect penis.
That's what I said, thank God not my butt.
Gosh, I say you're perfect, but
Well, it's not really perfect.
Not my flawless spot.
As long as they go, I'm happy.
Well,
obviously that's not a cancer if it comes and goes.
It looks like a liver spot, but I don't know if liver spots come and go.
No, they don't do that either. Press it, and if it blanches, then it's definitely not chaos. That's one way of going. Yeah. If you have a spot, press it. Another thing is if you touch it and you feel like, like an insect bite or a pimple, you'll feel like there's a nerve, there's like a sensitivity in the center of it, like you touch it and there's that special feeling. If it has that, then it's not. Mine aren't raised. Some people's are raised, so that you can't really tell, because mine are perfectly flat in all cases. They never get raised. I don't know, it's weird. You say like, doesn't go away?
Right.
Like, where's a cut? There's a cut. See how that blanches?
Yeah. That's a cut?
Yeah, that's what's left of a cut.
So that means it's not if it blanches.
Yeah.
I like one better too because I know one, but I mean, in a different way. In a different way, I know that one. I like that one. Then he began to get sick. And we went through hell and high water with doctors who didn't know what they were doing, with people who were prejudiced. He was black, he was gay, He was a veteran. He was, he was poor financially. And he was not well taken care of in most cases. Fortunately, Dr. Bellman, the kind of doctor he is, he started taking care of Stephen without charging a dime. Just out of care, just out of love, just out of what a doctor is supposed to be. And we were very thankful for Dr. Bellman. And he pulled Stephen through some very, very rough times. But then finally, I guess both Stephen and I thought we were on our way out. So we went to Florida thinking that the air would be good and the water would be good and it would be a healthy place to be. It was, and it was nice to not have grimy New York all over, but the medical people were too disjointed, and they were, I hate to say it, they were just too prejudiced, and they just felt like, it seemed to us that they were treating Stephen like an old car that isn't worth fixing up anymore, and they were giving up on him. And I had to watch them give up on him. And that was really, really hard. Finally, he died. And that was really rough. And it was really rough to be treated like a nobody. Because I wasn't the mother, or the brother, or the sister. Because I didn't fit in any family pigeonholes. There was no family there.
That's all familiar.
It was only me. I was the significant other. But down there, I could have been somebody else, just from the street. And thank you very much. There was no respect, and there was no sense of fair play. And I think that was one of the hardest things to deal with. I had to beg to get his ashes. I had to beg to get him buried. I had to beg for everything and create ridiculous scenes in order to get people to understand that I was his only loved one. And after that fiasco was over, I decided, well, if I stayed, well, I was very grief-stricken, and I began to just think, well, I want to die. I just want to die as quickly as I can. And I began to suffer real serious health problems. So I know that the mind has a lot to do with the physical being. And I began to really deteriorate fast after he died. And in a way, I just was glad. You know, I wanted to end. It wanted it to end. But then something happened somewhere along the way where I decided, well, that's maybe selfish. That's maybe not the right thing to do. I've got 2 boys, and to try to last for them. I'd like to see them graduate from high school at least. So I began to pray that God would help me to live. And one thing and another happened, and I decided that, you know, enough was enough, and I left Florida and came back to New York, came back to Dr. Bellman, because I felt like if I was going to survive, the only way I was going to be through his care. And I've been here now for, I guess, well, about 8 months, and I'm having troubles, but things are coming along, and I'm pretty stable. And I'm sitting here in Dr. Bowman's office, surrounded by loved ones, people who care, people who are healthcare workers like Tyrone, and buddies in bad times. You are still in my life. I know exactly how you feel. But it ain't over yet, right?
They're thinking like my best friend called me Fernando, and he thinks like my family should rent an apartment in New York for a year so they can stay where they come. I'm really scared.
Why?
It's really stressful every time I get visits.
Well, is there, whose idea is it to rent an apartment for?
Well, it was actually originally my idea. Like, I thought if I was sick or I was in the hospital or something and my family came, I didn't think it was fair for Billy to have to live with them or, be in the house and stuff. I had suggested it last year, and then nothing happened with it, and then now with my sister being here, and I got, it just got a little bit like stressful having her in the house and stuff. The whole issue came up again because now if I'm not able to go in December, then all my other sisters want to come, and my mother wants to come back, and my friend Fernando wants to come.
Well, I want to put this delicately, but I don't know exactly how to put it delicately.
Okay, pretty bluntly.
Are they doing this? Yeah, grow up, sucker. Are they doing this because they think that you're
gonna die?
Yeah, soon.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, I would hope that they.
You're pretty stable, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
you might even have another year
1 year.
and a half or two. Yeah.
I probably have 1 year. So I could have 2 years.
Yeah. So maybe they should think of that maybe 6 months down the road. You lose this and you lose that in this, unfortunately, this progression of illness is sort of like, he's lost one leg and he's still going. He's lost an arm, he's still going. Let's pull out an eye and see if he's still going. This sort of like, and then finally, like, the irony of it was that we were thinking that, okay, we're surviving with that, whatever that really means, and we're still going. But if all of a sudden they came up with a cure for AIDS, and already you've lost your ability to walk and your ability to see, and then they tell you you're going to be well and you don't have to die. They're not saying that you're going to get your legs back or your eyes back, that your heart is going to keep beating, is basically what they're saying.
Right.
And then you wonder, is it worth it? Is it worth it to all of a sudden get this kind of new lease on life with all kinds of restrictions?
What would you do if they found a cure tomorrow for AIDS? What would you do?
Get a job. That's what I think. Hi, how you doing? Really? You not feeling any better?
It's coming back to me, the fever.
Oh, really? That's a beautiful shirt. It's back today?
I think it's coming back a little. Never know.
Hi. Nice.
I haven't seen it so long.
You gotta show him your. Please.
Wow.
You gotta show him. That's really special.
What?
Are you doing your treatment here?
No, I'm just getting like 3 treatments to go, but I have to get stuck.
Okay, so you need 3 days worth of hospital.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I need a shot of Neupogen.
Alright.
And I'm coming to suffer a little bit.
Coming to suffer?
Well, to be stuck.
Oh.
Hey, Juan.
Hi, Tyron.
To do your penance.
Yes, for my past sins. I've had a really high fever all weekend. Had 103 on Saturday. Just high.
Right, Saturday, and he didn't think it had anything to do with the gynecology.
He thinks it's possible. It might be. But it's weird that it lasted so long, because if it had been only one night.
Yeah, that is weird.
I think it's just also my PCP is it got worse. Because my chest, in the evenings, like when I yawn and stuff, really hurts. And I've been coughing a little bit. PCP never made me cough.
You guys are very blessed. I know it's very unfortunate that, I met y'all and we love each other, but it's awful that we had to meet on certain circumstances.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand that you're very blessed because there are so many people out there dying that has never been loved. I mean, it hurts me when some of the patients die, and I know personal thing with a patient because sometimes you have time to talk, and I must admit, I've laid my burdens on you, and I've laid them on you, and it's horrible when they die and never had a lover.
I know.
They've only lived in bad. The only sexual contact they had, they didn't feel so highly of their self-esteem that the only sexual contact they've had in bathhouses or in park or something like that. They were never loved, and that's a horrible thing to die and never been loved by another man. Never have a lover. You've been blessed that way to have been loved, and you and me and Bernard, but
Very lucky.
especially it's sad. That's your problem. You have loved too much. You lay that big love that you carry on your back, or you spread it like water. I went to the doctor on Saturday. I gained 3 pounds. And she said,
Well, he's upset because he gained 3 pounds.
I got beat to 165 by my birthday.
Well, I lost 3 pounds when you got him.
I wish I could love them on you.
Yeah. I need 30.
This is the downside of the Dolly Madison Road. And someone goes to the hospital.
Right. Well, someone that comes like all the time.
Yeah, Jack.
So we've gotten to know. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah? Oh, good. Well, there's the upside. Thinking about what you said about the downside of Dolly Madison. The whole experience, the whole portion of existence is the downside of life. But there seems to be, little counterpoints of jovialness or whatever to make you able to bear it. But the reality and the truth of the situation is just what happened. Dr. Roman coming in and saying somebody's ill and it's serious. I mean, he doesn't do that.
No.
And but the thing is, being able to hear it and being able to work through it and come out and still be somewhat personally resilient or corporately resilient in this room is ultimately the upside, you know, and whether, you know, like, it's important to know those, the down moments, because if we can work through them, it helps us to be prepared and be able to work through them in our own experience with this situation more, I think. I do, I really think. I mean, if I heard of the down things and that was it, and didn't see people pull through and didn't see the continuing changes and the attitudes of people being able to bear up under these onslaughts, I couldn't have stood it this long, you know. So, my feeling is I really really hope that everything works out and he gets better. But I'm still glad to have known him. I'm glad to have grown to love him.
Well, he's not dead yet, man.
I know.
I mean,
you know, I'm glad to have gone through this because.
Oh, I know, but you're making yourself. I don't know.
I care. You know.
No, I know. Everybody cares, but you've been very steeped. Now this is probably good for fun. You've been very steeped in like the whole downside, like to me. Like right now you're sitting here with this living will and like worrying about money to give to your kids, and it's like you can't constantly be down about the whole thing.
Yeah.
But that's your that's your business. It's not my business. I don't really know how you feel inside. But don't get yourself so negative either. You're wrong with it. That's what I'm saying. Sorry.
I know what you're saying, but I sort of think that if you don't recognize that and try to work through it.
Yeah, but right now I recognize it. I may drop dead next week. You know, I recognize that, but I'm not.
Please, not competition.
I know we're having a real humdinger over here.
It's really rough with one going to the hospital. It's really hard.
in the hospital. Just one.
Yeah, he's having trouble with his breathing and stuff. And thought what we might do is just, I've never done this in the office before, but just to maybe close our eyes for a moment and just really try to send him our love and support.
Let's do that.
I'm sure he'd be glad to know that we're thinking of him.
One of the things that makes it very hard with Juan is he and I always seem to be running neck and neck with treatment and stuff like that. And it's sort of like, this constantly happens to me. I feel like, if so-and-so died, why am I not? And I almost feel guilty about it. You know, like, my mate was to me the quintessential man. He was my hero. He was everything I would like to be. And he died. And so I think in a way, you know, I sort of almost feel like what where is the rhyme or the reason, or is there any sense at all to any of it? Because I'm certainly not a better man than him. I'm not a better man than Juan. I'm not a better man than any of these people. So why am I allowed to live? And it's strange. It's a weird feeling. Here I am, and I'm glad to be here. I had a strange feeling about it, I must say. Because when I spoke to you, it was like, it seemed like you had something to say, but you weren't saying on the phone a few days ago. And also, I had spoken to Joe, and he seemed to be maybe hiding something. I had a fear about it, I guess, especially. I remember the day he went in and I got like all emotional and weird about it. And Joe and Tim were here, and they were basically saying, well, Daniel, dry up, you know, it's not the end, you know, it hasn't happened, and don't worry, he's going to be all right, you know. And of course, I listened to them, and I tried to stop being the emotional dish rag about it. And but I guess deep inside something was saying that was what the score was, and that he wouldn't be here anymore. So I was sad to hear it. Well, I think he realized, you know, things weren't getting better. And if they weren't getting better, they were only going to get worse.
I wonder where he is now.
Where he is? In heaven, honey. That was a good man. But as he said, yeah, I'll be seeing you, so maybe he's around, like, seeing us.